biggest question for us as a nation is, the hybrid model of the responsibility from Commonwealth and state and territories. And how do you see the commitment coming from the opposition and the coalition and the Greens in terms of from states and territories? And what do you see, what will it take across all parties to come together?
Across the states and Commonwealth?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, quite honestly, and Bill's not here, so here's the politics of it. Aside from Tasmania, every state is red. Every state is Labor. Federal is Labor. If Bill can't get them all sitting around a table and get them to come back to the table and start to own up, the states, quite frankly, should all be ashamed of themselves. And I'm talking about every colour and every state, because every state vacated the field as soon as the NDIS rolled out. Community health, try getting a speech therapy session through community health. And in fact, you'll love this one, and I'm looking at John Ryan here because I rang Gillian Skinner when it happened, the former New South Wales Health Minister. So I have two boys, one with autism, one without. Mm-hmm. Fred is my autistic son. My younger son is Rupert. And when Rupert was little, he couldn't say which is a bit of a problem when your name's Rupert. And anyway, the only service that we could access in Moree for Fred was 6-week blocks of speech. Oh. So a classically autistic young boy, the only service in Moree that we could access was speech therapy, 6-week blocks of community health. When the NDIS rolled out, not in Moree, but was rolling out, I was told Rupert could still go and have speech therapy to learn to say but Fred, with classical autism, global developmental delay and an intellectual disability, could not access community health because that was the responsibility of the NDIS. Mm-hmm. So no local speech therapist, no private provider, absolutely nothing available locally. And we were told because our son had a disability, he could no longer access community health. And for those of you that know me, and I know John Ryan can only imagine the phone call I made to Gillian Skinner, and I remember our speech therapist saying to me, geez, what did you do? I've had to send Fred's entire folder down to Hunter New England Health in Newcastle and all went to review, and needless to say, Fred's speech therapy was reinstated. And it was for all families in Moree that had a child with a disability. But this is what states were doing. Mm-hmm. They took away access to community health. But it also meant for kids like Rupert, who just couldn't say, it's nothing, Rup's fine, does not have a diagnosed disability, does not have a disability. But he was able to access community health. Mm-hmm. Too many kids, the NDIS is the only lifeboat in the ocean at the moment. Billy's not wrong when he says that. Mm-hmm. So the states need to come back to the table with community health. They need to come back with OT. They need to come back with speech. They need to come back for services so that families that just need a little bit of help can get it and don't have to go to the NDIS for it. The education department, completely pathetic across the board. The supports that they put into schools, unacceptable. It is absolutely inappropriate for particularly those with cognitive disabilities. Mm-hmm. It's much easier for schools to put in a ramp or a lift. They are very, very bad in the classroom when it comes to the appropriate support. So they need to come back to the table in education. Mm-hmm. Now, I know through conversations with education ministers, health ministers and other ministers in different states, they know that the premiers have signed them up to something behind closed doors with Albanese to get to this 8% figure. Mm-hmm. They will not release the modelling despite the Senate demanding the documents for a couple of months now. Jordan Steele, John and I every Monday morning do NDIS Monday. Lovely. Because every Monday one minister from this government comes in and says, we're not giving you the documents. We're not going to show you the modelling how we got to 8%. So we are still demanding those documents. But the states know that they've been signed up to something, but they don't know what it is.